All right, guys, I am coming to you from inside my greenhouse for today's video, which is going to be on how to start seeds. It's really a windy day, so you may hear my greenhouse panels rattling in the wind. The whole video will not be this way, I promise, but hang in there for a few moments. Essentially, what I'll be talking about are just the general materials you're going to need to start seedlings, as well as how to care for your seedlings. And then I will also give you a 5-week progression of the seeds and seedlings I've started, so you can get an idea of what to expect. I wanted to point out a couple of things here in my greenhouse. First thing I'm going to point out is my shirt. I don't know if you guys can see this. Wooden spoon survivor. Okay, that is courtesy of my mother, and God and my mother knew I would need a wooden spoon in my life, so I'm a better person for it. Love you, Mom. But also I wanted to point out, number one, the fact that my seedlings are in a very high area of my greenhouse, closest to the sun, because they'll need a lot of light. Number two, you'll notice all this bubble wrap in my greenhouse. And that is because I started these seedlings in the cooler months, or recently, like about 5 weeks ago, when it was significantly cooler. And I needed a lot of insulation. And this is a really great way you can keep your greenhouse a little bit warmer. You'll also notice this fly strip here. And I've seen on other videos where fungal gnats can really be a problem with seedlings, and they can destroy the root system of your these new tender plants. And so I put that up in hopes to prevent that. And then I'm going to turn around here for just a moment. You'll also notice a fan, and this will come into play a little bit later. But I wanted to point those things out so that you have a little bit of context on how I use those things when I took care of my seedlings. So keep watching, and I hope it's helpful. In terms of a container, I really like this 3-part system from Amazon. It comes with a bottom tray, and then also a clear cell tray with holes at the bottom of each cell. And that clear tray allows you to keep an eye on the moisture level of your soil as well as the roots of your seedlings. And then it also came with a dome, and that dome is really handy in the germination process of the seeds. It also comes with these small tools, a small shovel and spade, as well as some labels. In terms of your seed starting media, you're going to want something that retains moisture well, but also is well aerated, and something that does not have any fertilizer in it. I use these 20 millimeter coco coir pellets, but there's seed starting mixes. There's a lot of great options out there, or you can make your own. Germination is the first step in the seed starting process. It generally takes a few days to about a week. It's facilitated by having moist but not soggy soil, and I found that using some form of cover or dome helps facilitate keeping your soil at the appropriate level of moisture. So tray watering is also known as bottom watering, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You're watering your plants from the bottom up instead of overhead. And this is important because seedlings are very susceptible to something called damping off. And this is where your seedlings succumb to a fungal or mold infection, which thrives in overly moist, cool soil, and it can kill them overnight. And so by bottom watering or tray watering your seedlings, you are usually ensuring you're going to get some optimal watering, not overdoing it, not underdoing it. And so all I do is I put about a ½ inch of water in the bottom of a tray, and then I just set that clear cell tray in that and let it soak for about 10 to 15 minutes. I remove the cell tray, dump the excess water into another plant, and then that's it. Light is an important part of the seed starting process, and while I didn't use them Grow lights are a great way for you to start seeds indoors. Generally speaking, you want to use either an LED or fluorescent style light bulb. Something like an incandescent light might be too hot for your seedlings. Generally, it's thought that you want to place those lights about 2 to 4 inches above your seedlings, and you want to light your seedlings about 14 to 16 hours per day. Okay guys, it's been about 3 weeks here, and my kale has got its first set of true leaves here. I don't know if you can appreciate the difference. These are the seed leaves, these big ones, and that little jagged one is its true leaf. Same thing for my spinach. You can see the longer leaves are the seed leaves, and then the smaller ones are the true leaves. The broccoli hasn't sprouted its true leaves just yet. So I'm actually going to water these two, the kale and the spinach, with a diluted fish fertilizer. And then I'm going to just water my broccoli as I have been doing with just regular water. In terms of fertilizing, you're going to want to wait until your seedlings have their first set of true leaves. And ideally, you'll wait till the plant is about 3 inches, in which case it may have 2 or 3 sets of true leaves. You're going to want to use a fertilizer that's water soluble, low strength, and balanced. And you may need to fertilize once a week or more or less, depending on your plant needs. In my case, I had this fish fertilizer on hand. It's not exactly balanced. It's got a 5:1:1 NPK ratio, but I used what I had and I diluted it to half recommended strength, and it's worked out well so far. One of the recommendations I often see is to use a fan, and you use this after the germination process has completed, and that serves a couple of purposes. One, it helps to keep the surface soil a bit drier to hopefully prevent damping off, and two, it helps strengthen the stem of the seedling. I really didn't use my fan too often during this process, or haven't so far, because usually I can just open my greenhouse vent window and the greenhouse door and get plenty of breeze that way. Around 4 to 5 weeks, you may need to consider thinning out your seedlings. And what this means is getting your seedlings to just one plant per cell. And why this may become necessary is because if you're like me, you put 2 or 3 seeds in each cell, hoping that at least one would germinate, but maybe more than one did. And these seedlings will compete with each other for water and for food. And so by removing the less strong seedlings and leaving the healthiest one, that plant will have the best chance at thriving. There's a couple of ways to thin out your seedlings. One is you can pull the undesired seedlings out, but you run the risk of uprooting the other stronger, healthier seedling. Or you can just take some small scissors or small pruners and cut out the excess seedlings that way. Either way, be sure to get it down to 1 plant per cell, and then also save your microgreens because those are a really healthy snack. So I don't know if it's just me, but 2 days after the thinning process, my seedlings already look so much happier and more vigorous. In starting seeds, you may encounter a situation where your seedlings have outgrown their cell tray, but it's not quite warm enough to put them outdoors in your garden bed. And if that occurs, you may need to pot them up or pot them on, meaning you put them in a larger pot. Now, this is not really a seedling, but you'll kind of know when your seedlings are ready because they'll have circling roots, probably 2 to 3 sets of true leaves, or you'll have to be watering multiple times a day. So this potting soil was actually recommended to me by someone. It's from Fox Farm. It's a little heavier than the coco coir I use to start seeds, but apparently you can use this for seed starting as well. I'm getting ready to pot up my Texas Star hibiscus. This is not a vegetable, it is a flowering shrub. I currently have between 1 and 3 seedlings per cell, and I'm showing you here how not to remove your seedlings from the cell tray. I don't know what I was thinking, I was just being wild and crazy, but essentially this is a surefire way to disrupt the root system of your seedling or even break a stem like I just did. Ideally, you're going to turn that cell tray over and you're going to pinch the bottom of the cell, allowing gravity help that seedling and the dirt come out all at once. And then you're going to take that seedling, dirt and all, and transfer it into a slightly larger pot, like a 3-inch nursery pot. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to salvage all 3 of these seedlings, and so that's why you're seeing me trying to separate them out, and I will put each seedling into a larger pot. Potting up your plants may be a great opportunity for you to recycle some old nursery pots, but you're going to want to clean them first. You don't want to transfer any pests or unwanted microorganisms over to your seedlings. And so essentially you just scrub them with some warm soapy water and then let them sit in a bleach water solution for about 10 minutes. Now, in terms of the bleach water solution, I've read a lot of stuff that says a 1:9 or 1:10 ratio. That means 1 part bleach to 9 or 10 parts water. But I'm not going to lie, I just filled my kitchen sink halfway and put like a 1/4 cup of bleach in there and called it good. I filled my nursery pot all the way up, and then I created a hole deep enough for me to be able to bury the root structure of the plant all the way to its first set of leaves, and in this case, the seed leaves. Then I just gently patted the dirt down around it, and then I made sure to give them a nice drink of water. And you can kind of see the transplant shock as the leaves are wilting here, but after that, they bounced right back, and they're doing great so far. Hardening off is the process in which you expose your seedlings to the elements gradually. It's generally done about 7 to 14 days prior to garden bed placement, and there are many different ways to do it. It's important to acclimate your seedlings gradually because if you were to expose them to the elements all day long after they've been so sheltered and protected, they will not do very well and they typically die. So you've worked very hard to get them to this point. Resist the temptation to put them right into the garden bed from your greenhouse or from indoors, and you'll be glad you did. I hope you enjoyed this video and y'all take care.